and he's got his hands out, and he's manipulating his hands back and forth in a figure-8 motion. And he's sitting on a very ornate table that doesn't seem to have... It doesn't so much resemble a table as it more like the top of a table. It doesn't seem to be any legs underneath it. It's like just a round disc, wooden disc that he's floating on.
Alright, well, enough about hair. About that...
And as you're about to step outside, you notice that it starts to rain again. And the moment that you step outside, you hear a snapping noise. And from behind you, you see that the man floating on the dais has snapped his fingers, and the rain immediately stops outside of the shop.
Wow, that's really cool.
We get something like that.
I know.
Now you notice that within almost a bubble around the shop, you can see that the rain is still falling several yards out, and it seems to be hitting nothing and then sort of cascading off in a large dome over his shop.
Well, that's one way to entice customers to get in and out.
Tell your friends, come again, please. My name is Marius, don't forget.
Yeah.
We will not marry us.
Sounds like Marius.
And then Nicholas fell asleep.
So, are we headed to get that cat? Byron, do you know where the best place is?
Well, I would figure something really neat would hardly be down in the lower level.
You said the lower level?
So you mean going cat hunting, not going to a pet shop?
Oh, no, not up here. This is all, fancy dandy people up here. They have like nice little... Sure, if we don't something mean that's going to kill some stuff, you have to, get it from, the mid-level or maybe just a little low.
Okay.
I know a few areas that we can probably go to that might have us. Well, we would do the mother-in-law. I think she'd be happy with it.
Excuse me, sir. Sir. Excuse me. Would you be the one they call Byron?
Who's
And
asking?
as you turn around, you see a very frail-looking old woman. And she is looking at you with sort of a look of anticipation and bewilderment.
And she says, You are the one they call Byron. The savior of Dura.
I think you have me mistaken.
Oh no. I never forget the face, Sonny. You may not remember me, but I remember that day.
It was a long time ago, and many things in many places.
Well, perhaps you can help an old woman. You do so much for the ward. Perhaps you could let me perform a simple charm and polish the coins in your purse. We wouldn't want anyone to get grime on their gloves from handling 50 coins from the lower wards, would you?
I don't have that many coins, but I could give you a few if you need.
Oh, if you could spare 3 crowns, that would be lovely.
Sure, here you go.
And she at once reaches out a gnarled hand, and she accepts the coins and very quickly puts them in her pouch somewhere within her robes. And then she passes a hand over your satchel for your coins, and you feel a warming sensation on your body where your coin purse is located. And then you immediately smell sort of like a hint of jasmine or flowers in the air.
So there you go. All that dirty, filthy grime from the folk from the lower wards off of your coins.
I feel my coin purse. Does it feel like it has coins in it?
It does. It feels the same as it did before.
Oh,
And your coin
Wait,
purse
wait,
is
wait.
now it feels it to you it feels warm and a little moist, and there seems to be a very effervescent perfume coming off of it.
Well, that'll wear off in about an hour, dearie. That's just a side effect of the magic, you see.
Oh, that's a nice side effect. I think we need to go pick up Linda. Linda's with Jan. So she can smell it.
Please, if you ever need any of my services again, just call on old Granny.
Where do you live, Granny?
I live down in Cliffside. Isn't that where your family lives?
Oh, I know the area well. Yeah.
Yes.
You probably refer to my father.
Oh, yes. Know them for many years. Know them very well. How are your family? I haven't seen them in a while.
They're doing well.
Huh.
I'm going to visit them again this day and see what they're up to.
Well, do tell your father and your mother and the rest of your kin that old Granny was thinking of them, and I hope to see you again.
Sounds good. Have a great day.
And you as well, Byron.
And this
Well, that was strange.
crooked woman begins
Whoa.
shuffling off, sort of like cursing under her breath as she's very slowly walking away from you.
Did we hear what she said?
Oh yes.
What did she say? Under her breath.
3 fucking copper.
I gave her gold.
I'm just kidding.
That's not what she said, right, bro?
No, she said something along the lines of, "Oh, my bunions."
Grammy's gonna get her bunions massaged when she gets home. Yow!
So, Byron the Savior?
Oh, that. She must have me confused with somebody else. I'm sure there's plenty of Byrons here.
Sarah tries to see if he's lying.
Is this anything like what's in the ball?
You want me to roll an insight on him?
Yes.
Yeah, you can roll my bluff too. I'm sure that will work wonderful.
Sure.
At the top of his head when he's talking about it, like looking up the sky and thinking,
Let's see. -1 on that. And, oh, Sarah's a +6 on insight. Okay, so, believe it or not, you both rolled 12s. So, Zara, you get a sensation that he's nervous about answering this question. definitely nervous, but you don't feel as though he's being untruthful.
Question, Jeremy.
Yes, sir.
You did say that he scratched his head and looked up to the sky. Would Nick notice that as being kind of the signs of a lie?
I would say that if you were studying him, you would notice that would be more of a perception check for Nick.
Okay.
In that
And
case,
then
I would say that
And you might have noticed that he did that a lot when talking to his mother. When he was nervous about something. Or trying to...
Yeah, he's definitely.
Would Nick have picked up?
Nick, you definitely picked up that he is extremely uncomfortable with that topic.
I'm gonna leave it be, but I'll take note in my a mental note.
Siegfried walks up and pats Byron on the back.
Oh, you
Not-
got a nice sense.
Not, yes, and not everything should always be talked about, and I'll return the kindness that if you would ever like to talk, I'm also here.
Oh, we'll have to sit. We'll sit down tonight.
Yes, that would be.
I do plan on spending a lot of time with my lady. I'm sure I'll definitely make time for us to talk.
Never a rush. Always time for.
You know, while we're at it up here in the higher levels, you mind if we stop by the Inquisitor?
Well, is there any pet stores near or along the way? I look to my atlas and I pull it out and imagine and think of a pet store.
Yes, actually, when you look at your Atlas slate, you see that there's one actually within this district. And a banner pops up, and you see the name Lalandra's Creature Boutique, which is actually right across the square from where you are currently.
We can go get Byron's cat. It looks like it's right across the street, and then we can go to the Inquisitor's office for you, Nick.
Well, I'm sure they're going to order premium for some prissy little cat.
Well, I mean,
around the
cat-like. Worst case scenario, we just take our business elsewhere and, bide our time.
Oh, we can give it a shot since we're right here.
Okay. So are you heading over towards the shop?
Yes.
Okay. As you cross through the square, you see momentarily a flying coach arc over the district. And it seems to be flown by several Pegasi. And it seems to be driven by a gilded warforge. And he passes over the district and off to parts unknown.
Ugh,
Siegfried sees nothing wrong with it.
nothing worse than rich warlord.
Maybe if they drove a bit better, but I see nothing else.
As you approach the outskirts of the shop, you see that it's a large open-air shop with several bird cages outside of it. And within the shop, you see an elven woman who is currently scrubbing out a cage. And you see a ebony fur creature pacing back and forth in front of her on top of the counter. So smallish size, and it is currently crooning and purring. And just off to the side of in the one corner of the shop, you see a much larger version of this creature that is reclining on a large dais. And it has very feline features, strong feline features, and it kind of perks its head up as it looks at you. And you watch as several appendages rise up off of its body and then lie back down against its body. And it also has a deep ebony, almost a deep purple-like colored fur and panther-like features, with the exception only with these long appendages that seem to curl or wrap around its back.
Well, hey there, dearie.
Ooh.
I'll be right with you.
Good. Now those probably eat 'em.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if those animals had clothes on them.
Oh, welcome. My name is Elandra. You have to excuse me, I have been cleaning out the cages this morning. This little one here has been minding the shop. And you see this creature, which is a smaller version of the larger one that's on the dais, is sort of padding back and forth on top of the counter. This is Francis. Say hello, Francis. And you watch as Francis lifts up one of its smaller appendages off of its back and waves it at you. And as it does, the end of the appendage sort of undulates, and you can see some sharp teeth poking out from within.
Siegfried immediately slowly walks up to it, kneels down, looks at it, and goes, "It's adorable. This is so cute."
That's Francis. Francis is being a good boy and watching the shop for me while Mommy tends to Joppa and the rest of her cubs. And as you begin looking around the shop, you notice that there are more of these smaller creatures that are wandering around. But as you watch them, it seems as though their image seems to double. Almost as if your eyes begin to water as you stare at them. And you watch as they shift in and out of the shadows, appearing as one and then as two and then back to one.
Siegfried is just overwhelming with joy and cuteness right now, just like gushing at all the hands.
Oh my god. Cute Siegfried is looking at that cute animal.
Yeah, super.
Cute.
But Byron, we have to buy them all, every single one of them. Yes, for the rats. No other reason. Just the rat.
That's fine. Put it on your tab.
So,
I would if I didn't spend it all on a loot.
I hear you were interested in a displacer cub.
Are they good at catching rats?
Oh yes, they're good at catching just about anything smaller than them, and a few things a little bit bigger than them as well. As they get older, obviously, they get much larger, like their mother, Joppa, and she gestures over to this large panther-like creature that is now lazily, like, sort of rolling its head to the side and yawning. And you can see the large incisors, and it sort of huffs and just.
Siegfried now just turns to mom.
How large do these animals actually get?
Well, they get as big as their mama over there.
You see Siegfried trying to pet them.
How big is?
And it's a fairly large creature. The creature is long, has a long body that, even laying out with its legs distended out from its body, it seems like it takes up even more space. From tail to head, the creature is about 10 feet long. And you can see it has very powerful limbs, very strong, very thick hide.
And how much would one of these little...
Oh, well, I'm not really selling any of them yet. They haven't been weaned off of their mother, except for Francis here. But Francis he's sort of taken a liking to me, and once they've bonded, it's kind of hard to give them to someone else, because they simply won't mind anyone else. Although he is young enough that if you worked with him, he might bond with you.
Siegfried is just laying down, overwhelmed by the cuteness at this point.
Now, Francis, he is a bit feisty, and he may bite from time to time. He's still teething, both in his mouth and his tentacles. But I could let Francis go for, 25 gold.
I'll take him. As long as we can bond.
Oh, absolutely.
What kind of lifespan should we expect out of this animal?
Oh, they live
Eating.
a long
Yes.
time.
Siren, yeah, I think this will take more than just your rats. It could take care of your mother-in-law too.
Well, I have a way with it, actually, so I was just wondering if I'll just keep him for myself. But he could, like, get a little larger by rats while we're here.
I will say that it will take some time for Francis to grow to full size. Most displacer cubs, they don't reach maturity until they're at least a year old.
Oh, that'll be fine.
Francis himself, he's only a few months old. But he's already a little rapscallion, aren't you, Francis? And you just hear that Francis is purring very loudly. And then
Siegfried eats from the cuteness.
He has these
I'll lean
very
down to it.
large, gold-rimmed eyes, and his pupils are like saucers.
I'm gonna lean down towards him, kneel down for pet him, and try to find out, what kind of food whether he's going to take.
They love meat. Preferably live meat. Although you can feed them. You can feed them beef. They will eat meat that has been processed, but preferably raw.
Or even squirming a little bit.
Did you want me to roll you an animal handling check there, Byron?
Yes, please. Yes. See if he's going to... See if he's got a mouse in his mouth. Nice finds there, huh?
What's funny is the picture that I have of Francis in front of me, he has a mouse in his mouth. Even though you can't see it. That is a 21, Byron. And Francis immediately begins, leaps off of the counter onto the ground, and he begins weaving his way through your legs, purring very loudly, and as he weaves his way through his legs, his tentacles are wrapping around your calves, and very lightly, just sort of like it flexes the end of its appendage, and sort of like almost as if it's tasting your legs and your boots. And it begins rubbing its face up against you and against your leg and purring loudly. Oh, I see. Francis seems to have taken a liking to you quite a bit there.
Oh, apparently, I think we may be a match.
But Francis, you be a good boy now, and you go with this nice man. I do have a container if you need to carry him around, if you don't want him running about before you get used to each other.
Is there a lead or something we could use instead of
You could try. Francis has a tendency to get out of those, especially if he sees something he doesn't like. I would avoid... what are those things called? They're like dogs, but not dogs. You see, Francis is a fey creature, and his kind, they're not overly fond of blink dogs. So I would avoid dogs of any kind.
That we don't find one that he gets too angry with anyway. Or maybe there's something that we can get that will keep him within a certain...
Well, he will, as you continue to bond with him, he will come when you call him.
Because I don't believe in cage, but...
Oh, it's very understandable. I do,
we'll
however,
have to work on something.
I do, however, have this lovely bed if you want. I can throw in, and some treats. And she pulls out this very, very thick wicker basket, open-faced basket with a padded lining, sort of a red velvety lining. And then she hands a sack over that's about the size of your fist. Those may go bad in a few days. There's a few dead rats in there.
Ah, good. It likes rat. Well, we'll give it some live ones.
Francis loves rats.
So, and you said 25 gold. I think I'll have to take the container for a little while until it gets a little more used to being around us.
Sure thing.
I'll keep him and everyone else.
I have this actually, and she pulls out a topper that seems to be the perfect size. It's almost like the top of like a dinner serving tray, and it fits over and latches over the top of the bed that she gave you.
Okay. Would 30 gold be good?
30 gold would be just fine. Please do take
You're
care
welcome.
of Francis. Jopa is, of course, has had many litters over the years, and Francis is special. Francis has been my little buddy.
Is there anything I know about this place or beast or anything?
You would know that, as she said, as they get older, they not only kill for food, but they also kill for sport. And they will kill things even when they're not hungry, often toying with their victims. And they typically like to hunt alone, or in small prides.
And this is Francis male, I assume.
Francis is a male.
Well, we have problems with him marking this territory.
Oh yeah, he's already started marking Byron.
Rubbing his scent on me. They got glands in their whiskers.
Like I said, sorry, Samuel.
You're there, he's marking me for a later meal.
Like I said, Byron, you can get rid of the rats and your mother-in-law if you wanted.
No, he scratches his head. Oh, no, I would not think of that. She's
Just an accident.
Yes, accidents do happen, though I